Shehu, thank you very much for giving us your time. The president at the UN, addressing the UN, said he plans to leave a legacy of a clean election, free, fair, transparent. Elaborate on the president's promise to the world, basically.
It's important at this time that the biggest democracy in West Africa commits itself to free and fair election, to a peaceful handover after 2 terms in office. Given all of the things that are going on, we had seen, at a time when the world assumed that we had to put coup d'etat behind all of us. It has featured in about 4 West African countries now, and most of it arising from tenure elongation. Presidents who have finished their own 2 terms and they want to do more than the Constitution. So they amend Constitution in order to now stay in office for a much longer period.
He was not pleased about that.
Oh, absolutely. But there is a limit to how much we can do. We have to operate within the framework of ECOWAS. But the president has condemned every incident that has happened and has stood by the decision of ECOWAS to insist on early return to democratic rule in all of those countries that have been so affected.
So talk to me about the environment now leading up to next year's election. What does he want to do? What should Nigerians expect from him ahead of next year's election? Because he promises to hand over peacefully to the next elected president next year.
We had challenges with security. This is not only about Nigeria. It's something that has affected all of the countries, in the Sahel and sub-Saharan Africa. We have had our own share. We now have a handle on it. We're dealing with it, and we hope between now and the election, it will be history. And there are a number of major infrastructure projects, bridges and roads, rail, that he's fully committed to. And he wants to deliver on those instructions. So the president wants to be remembered when he leaves for the massive infrastructure deficit that he has changed and put in place, and also for instituting the true culture of democracy, of true succession. He is a product of what has been adjudged as a good election. He wants to improve on that.
Wonderful. Now, Shehu, what do you say to some of his critics and opposition people are saying that the security situation has gotten bad? It's chaos, kidnapping, banditry, and that Boko Haram and other militant groups are wreaking havoc, kidnapping people, attacking trains. I mean, they said the situation is so bad. What do you say to that?
It was so bad. But again, this is not, look, let me tell you, one of these incidents is the herders and the farmers clashes. If you go back to pre-independence literature, even the British colonial administration had dealt with that. They found that there's a problem and they had dealt with it. President Buhari today has brought it to a closure, because he has gotten governors around the table. They had agreed to introduce ranching, to reform, agriculture generally, including animal farming and all of that. So we're getting somewhere. Now, when he came, Boko Haram was a big issue. It was bombing cities, bombing places of worship, mosques, churches. You couldn't worship in Nigeria. And these things had gotten to the middle of Nigeria, was going towards the coastal areas. So Boko Haram is on its standing on its, last leg. Really, that they are no longer a sustainable threat, to the Nigerian state. Yeah, we have had incidents of kidnapping, and even those ones are being tackled head on. And between now and the end of the year, this is the commitment we're getting from the heads of the military and the security agencies. The difference is already showing. We are not going to be a country that will say or pretend that there will not be any incident. In all nations of the world, there are crimes.
No, but Shehu, some of them are saying the president should have fired all his service chiefs because they have not served him well. He instructed them, arrest the situation, and they are not doing it. They said the president should have fired them and that he's leading from the back instead of leading from the front. How do you answer those criticisms?
How many times will you be firing people from their jobs? And the critic who is saying all of that, what contributions have they made to bring security to Nigeria? I'm in particular saying the military and everyone needs information in order to function where they are. They need intelligence. If communities are silent and there are no criminals in their midst, if you have the best commanders in the country, the military in place, they cannot achieve anything because they need information, because criminals, all of these bandits, they live within our own communities. In fact, in some cases, they are even family members of some people. They know them. So I think we have to change our attitude, make for disclosure so that the agencies of security agents will go after those elements and they will not spare them.
So before we go, Garba, what assurances will Mr. President give the people of Nigeria as they get ready for the elections? And does INEC have what it takes to administer free, fair, credible elections as the president has promised the world?
As it is, the budget for their work has been approved. So in essence, all of the essentials, all of that they need as projected under the current appropriation budget, they have approvals for all of that. So if there are many more things they need, we are a democracy, we work through the parliament. They bring up their proposals and the parliament will look at them and they pass. We have an electoral law, a new electoral act, which is reformed, which is outstanding in so many ways. And it is perhaps the most important assurance of a free and fair election because the president has seen the need to reform this sector and he has done so. He has signed on to the law and it is already in place.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.